Oh, you banned me from Instagram, did you? I'm still on private jets.
Did you see that there was a news story that came out recently about the treatment of SEALs during their selection process? You see this?
Yeah, I saw it.
Yeah, they were getting sprayed with tear gas whilst they were on the ground, and they were made to sing happy birthday so that they couldn't hold their breath while it was happening. Right. And there was a quote from this guy, I think this type of training is really senseless, said Sven Hjort, a Duke University associate professor who studies tear gas and its effects. It looks more like a form of hazing.
I see all that. Trust me. Like I said, you know, I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. I understand that guy. I understand exactly where you're coming from. That is your personal opinion, and I totally get that. But there's very few people in this world who want to do a job like that. And it takes a different kind of mindset. Is it tear gas appropriate? I don't know. How hard that training is, I don't expect anybody to understand it. At 1%.
Did you see?
Take your time.
You know the Spotify one.
Spotify?
Yeah, you got your phone on you? Bring out the phone. You got Spotify?
Is it a QR code?
It is.
What? No way. Okay, so
let's see if
you scan it over it.
Right enough.
Oh, it's over a sound wave. Oh,
Yeah.
here we go. Take your time.
You know the Spotify one.
Spotify?
Yeah, you got your phone on you? Bring out the phone. You got Spotify?
Is it a QR code?
It is.
What?
First they came for Alex Jones, and you did not speak out because you were not right-wing. Then they came for the Tate brothers. You did not speak out because you were not a Tate brother. Then they came for Donald Trump. You did not speak out because you were not a politician. Then they came for Russell Brand. You did not speak out because you are not a celebrity. But next, they're going to come for you, and there will be nobody left to speak out.
The hardest part wasn't returning his serve. The hardest part was not letting him know that I knew this. I started to realize he had this weird tick with his tongue. He would go into his rocking motion, his same routine, and just as he was about to toss the ball, he would stick his tongue out, and it would either be right in the middle of his lip or it would be to the left corner of his lip. So if he's serving in the deuce court and he put his tongue in the middle of his lip, he was either serving up the middle or to the body. But if he put it to the side, he was going to serve out wide.
Now, where does he serve? He's been embarrassed both to the forehand and to the backhand.
So I told Boris about this after he was retired. He about fell off the chair, and he says, I used to go home all the time and just tell my wife, it's like he reads my mind.
Astonishing that anybody can see this heavy backer serve and project it like an arrow.
The hardest part wasn't...
To cała Polak na nowego iPhone'a musi pracować przez 23 dni. Ale i tak bardziej go zmęczy słuchanie później uwag od ludzi, że Apple to kał i że źle zrobił, bo w tej cenie miałby nie całego Xiaomi, bo Xiaomi jest droższe. iPhone jest dostępny niemal wszędzie, więc co roku analitycy zestawiają średnie pensje i cenę tego telefonu w różnych krajach, aby policzyć, jak bardzo zdesperowani są fani Apple'a na całym świecie, czyli trochę też bogactwo poszczególnych nacji. Tym razem wyniki są następujące. Szwajcar kupi sobie iPhone'a 15 Pro po 4 dniach roboty, Amerykanin po 5, Norweg po 8, Niemiec, sąsiad złodziej po 9,5, a Polak niestety daleko w tyle, gdzieś między Litwą a Łotwą, Polak po 23 dniach. Zakładając oczywiście, że w tym czasie nie będzie niczego jadł i kupował, ale czego się nie robi dla Apple'a. W poprzednich latach mieliśmy jednak wyniki bliższe 30 dniom, więc Polska wstaje z kolan. Polak na nowego iPhone'a
I used to be poor, and in England, there's something called peak travel tickets, which means if you want to go into London in the peak rush hour times, so when you finish work around 5 o'clock, you have to either wait to take the train home at 8, and it's 30% cheaper, or you can pay more and travel for 8 o'clock. So I had an off-peak ticket, and it was during peak hours, and I'm good at Famusi. So what I did is I texted myself a message. Don't worry, you have the wrong ticket, but you're not from England, and they're usually very, very nice. And I walked up to the guy and said, hey bro, my ticket's not working. He goes, that's an off-peak ticket, it doesn't work. I said, because I'm not from here, and I showed him the text message. and a text message told him, "Don't worry, you're not from England, not very, very nice." And he went, "Oh, don't go through." He thought I was some idiot tourist. I promoted him. I'm a genius. I used to be.
Here's how contrasting character design can help elevate your storytelling. Most comics, manga, and cartoons utilize what I call visually telegraphic character design. In other words, they use body language, body size, build, and costume to instantly tell you something about the character. Shy, meek characters are small, aggressive characters are often larger. But you can unlock more dimension to your storytelling if you subvert these expectations. In Interdimensional 3, our large, muscular sword and sorcery hero spends a lot of the comic in a living nightmare, where she's terrified, acting completely contrary to what you would expect from such a physically strong character. Likewise, the villain tormenting her is a cheerful, cartoony, whimsical chili pepper, which of course makes him all the more scary. Both characters' behavior and personalities are in direct contrast with their character design, and that leads to more dimensional interactions and a more interesting piece of storytelling.
I've seen a lot of fairly well-built men, heavily built men, go to Italy and say, "Make me an Italian suit." An Italian suit doesn't work for many heavily built men, at least the traditional Italian continental look, which is sort of a close-cut coat or close-cut suit. It just doesn't. And so if you're 250 pounds and you're 6'3" or 6'2" or 6'4", and you want to look like a runway model from Milan, it's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. They're going to make you a suit. They're going to make you an Italian suit, but it's not going to look right. You're not going to be comfortable in that garment. That style is not going to be suited for you. And the fit is going to be almost invariably off. However, like I said, this is what they make. If you go to Naples, or you go to Milan, or you go to Rome, or what have you, or even to Paris, if you go to Cifonelli or any of the, Parisian houses, they have a specific style. I
found most people don't know who they are. They really don't.
Know my name, I know my age, I know where I live.
Yeah, that's not you though. Then if you ask the average person who they are, they'll give you their name. They'll say, "I'm Bob Proctor," but I'm not. Bob and Proctor are two words. My parents give them to me. They're called names, but it's not me. It's my name. Then somebody will say, "Well, this is me," but this isn't me either. It's my body. Like, you never phone down here to the studio and say, "Body won't be in today. It's sick."
Okay.
We don't say "am hand" or "am leg." It's my hand, my leg, my body, my name. Who am I? See, I think we live simultaneously on three planes of understanding. We're spiritual creatures, we have an intellect, and we live in physical bodies. But because we lack awareness or understanding of who we are, we're totally locked into a physical world, and we let things outside of us control us. 95% of the population are reacting to life. They're not really living at all. I found most...
Who fought on the way over here? Y'all are clearly a couple. Who's the guy in her life that you hate? It's her best friend. Where'd you meet this best friend? At work? Oh, that's worse. Oh, no. She has to see him every day. Okay, where do you work? At a school? Are you a teacher? Oh, shit. Okay, all right, okay. What do you teach? What, is he a teacher as well? Yes. What does he teach? Science? Would you say you two have chemistry?
No, we have chemistry right here.
Doesn't sound like it. Sounds like y'all are about to be history.
How much did you make? The most I ever made was 8.8 in one night. I made 8.8 million the second time I fought Anderson.
That's a stunning payout for a UFC fighter now.
Yes.
This is how long ago?
This was in 2012.
What did Silva get?
I've always wondered that. He had to get more. I heard rumors, though, that he was like 3.2 million or 3.1 million.
Maybe you're getting paid as the heel.
Maybe. He also told me a number that he thought we did in pay-per-views wasn't the number that we did in pay-per-views, so I didn't know where this whole thing sat.
How much did you make?
I'm going to teach you something sad about the male race. Men have a behavioral strategy that is a holdover from the cave days, and it looks like conquest. Conquest is the male shadow. It's, I'm going to behave in whatever way I need to behave to get exactly what I want out of this woman. It's not really who I am. And I have some bad news. I'm not saying that it's impossible. I'm saying you're going to have to really have discernment. And I realize that when you're starving to death for that closeness, it's very hard to use discernment. If you were starving to death, no water for days, and I was to poison this water and be like, really hard to say no to that, right? But you're going to have to use your discernment. That place in you that wants to drink the poisoned water is a void that needs you badly. It's literally one of the most painful experiences you can ever have, going into that consciously, sitting with the emotions of that absolute, desperate, starved powerlessness. But if you sit in that void long enough, it goes away. Then you're not a match to other people with the void. And you can believe that the conquest men, they have a void. I'm going to
really talk about, I don't think I've ever talked about this, but my parents both died recently. So, yeah, I don't like talking about it, but yeah, my parents died recently and
feel sad when you knew they died, or did you feel it was the end of a...
No, I didn't wish any ill will on either one of my parents, but you know, no, I didn't. When they passed away, I had almost no feelings about it, to be honest with you.
But do you feel a great loss that you didn't have the love of your parents that many other people take for granted?
But no, I have no remorse. I don't feel bad about the way that I grew up. I mean it when I say that I wouldn't change one thing about the way that I was brought up, because I truly believe had I not had them for parents, had I not had the upbringing that I did have, that I wouldn't be who I am today. Really talk about...
If you are in your comfort zone, get the f out of there as fast as you can. Your comfort zone is the #1 thing that will destroy your entire life. Now, it might not do it tomorrow, might not do it the next day, might not even do it next year. But if you remain comfortable over the course of 5 years, 10 years, you will look back on your life and realize that you could have accomplished so much more had you kept yourself right on the edge day after day after day. Now, this isn't to say that you need to go into some toxic hustle culture bullshit mentality, but I promise you, your best work will show up in your life when you push yourself to the limits of your comfort. There, you will find the real artist, the real titan of industry within you that's begging to get out.
A few years back, somebody ate a Carolina Reaper and ended up with what's called thunderclap headache. Thunderclap headache is a massive inflammation of the meninges of the brain. So you got your brain, it's sitting in fluid, everyone knows that. And then there's some thick dura stuff around it. There's thick fibrous tissue. Like, well, you're a hunter, so when you want to take the brain out, people think, oh, you just kind of pop the brain out. You need a sharp razor or really sharp scissors to get through, or a sharp knife. The swelling of the meninges is what happened to this person. They got an unbelievable headache, and it's actually inflammation-induced brain damage. Now, that's only eating an extremely hot pepper in huge quantities.
How many peppers did this guy eat?
I don't know.
Just eating one of those things. Like, you know, in the pepper sauce, my stuff, it's like the tiniest amount. It'll wreck you.
Yeah. A few years back.
Hi, excuse me, sir. If you have a couple minutes, why don't we...
got many more than a couple of minutes.
You got many more than a couple of minutes? Why is that?
Because I got nothing else to do.
You have a tinge of an accent. You're from England, or...?
A tinge of an accent? Well, yours is a very noticeable American accent.
How long have you been in America for?
Too long.
What do you like about the city?
Nothing. You know, it's a shit heap. Look at the sidewalks. I've been most parts of the world, unlike most Americans who've been nowhere. Breadth of their interest in other people and other countries is nil. The number of people in this country who have passports, except to go to Canada or to Cancun.
What do you love most about Americans?
My wife. Cheers.
Oh my god. I thought I was recording the iPhone 15 Pro Max with my cool, nice camera, but check this out. We got the king himself recording with that. My god. Makes this look like a child.
You have to suffer.
Be the guy who embraces the...
You have to suffer.
Be the guy who embraces the ugly, the miserable.
She's like, we gotta get you to the hospital. And I just said, just shut up and let me enjoy this pain.
Don't be afraid of being hurt. Don't be afraid to sacrifice some blood.
You have... And you know, a couple years later when David was working on his book, and I heard the book was coming out. I texted him and I just said, look, I'm really excited to see your book. And he said, oh, great, thank you. You know, it'd be great if you'd write something about it, like an endorsement. I said, oh, I'd be honored to, I'm happy to. And he said, but I need it tonight. Right. And this was Saturday I think it was like 10:30 at night when I texted him. So I sit down and I start writing this thing. And these are short blurbs, but I kind of realized that, you know, you want to get it right. It's David, and, you know, my name's next to it, and I want to do it justice. So I'm sitting down, I'm working on this thing, and I text him, look, I'm gonna be a few minutes late, no problem. Finally, I send him the thing at like 12:30 at night. And then I realized at that time he was living in New York. And I said, wait a second, where are you? He said, New York. And I said, it's 3:30 in the morning. And he goes, yeah, I'm going running.
Of course.
And I realized at that point, I was like, okay, you know, it's